Hi guys, welcome to an Emperor Wargaming Reviews. Today I have got the brand new Alpini box from Warlord Games for the Italian Alpini Mountain Troops, which I'm very excited to have a look at. And I know that a lot of people are excited for this as well, Tough Gut, the Italy campaign book, the new one, follow-up to Italy Soft Underbelly. So we'll have a quick look and I'll let you know what the changes are. So, Tough Gut book. I'm not going to go through everything in there because obviously I don't want to spoil most of the stuff for all you guys, but I'm just going to go through a couple of bits that I found quite interesting. So we've got some new units. So we're going to start with the British and the Commonwealth. So Maoris. I've always liked Maoris. I think they get some really good rules. They get formidable fighters, which I believe means they get up and atom and blood curdling charge all in one, which is pretty good. So you get them, so you get some, you can take a Maori officer, you can take Maori squads, which I think is great. Gurkha section. Unfortunately, the Gurkhas have, in this book, taken a bit of a nerf. Instead of having the scary blighters special rule, they now have an intimidating foe, which means that units fighting in close combat with the Gurkhas treat draws in close quarters as defeats. It's not great, but I mean, it's by no means the worst thing to happen to the Gurkhas. But, you know, this might mean that we'll see a few different units if people are going to start taking these. What have we got next? Ah, yes, the Americans. So they can take something called the FSSF section for Anzio. It's an American-Canadian multinational unit. And they get to take something called the Johnson Light Machine Gun. Now, it costs 5 points, which is the same as a bar. It's got 24-inch range. It's got 3 shots, but it benefits from the fire and maneuver US special rule. So it's basically a rifle that doesn't suffer a -1 to hit for moving, but it's got 3 shots for 5 points. In my opinion, I think that's going to be an absolute auto take in these squads. So look out for that. FSSF section for Anzio. Yes, we get some Italian units that are new allied Italian units, which I think is cool. So again, they're pretty much just generic kind of Italian style units with rifles, SMGs, LMGs, etc. Some of them can have the special rule of desertion, which is -2 points a man, which isn't great, almost like a shirkers type thing. But some of them get the special rule of forza di animo, which is when they roll an order test, they remove D2 pins instead of 1, which, you know, I like. Moving on to new German units. So this is the main one that I really liked, the Gewehr 43 Sniper Team. So it's got the following special rules. This is a sniper, so it's 2 men, one with sniper, one with spotter. They have the Gewehr 43. It has the following special rules: fire and maneuver, so it doesn't suffer the -1 for shooting and moving, and semi-automatic. So after resolving shooting, roll a dice. On the result of a 4+, a veteran sniper gets a second shot. On the roll of a 5+, a regular sniper gets a second shot. The second shot is taken at the same target. So for example, you could like be shooting at a, I don't know, like a mortar team, and it's like bang, right, we've hit on a 3, but we've not done any wounds, we've just pinned them. So roll the dice, oh great, 5, we're now shooting them again. It just kind of like adds that opportunity. But again, I suppose you still have to, it doesn't actually say after resolving shooting, so yeah, they could just get a second shot. It doesn't necessarily have to hit even, which is good. New tanks, I say new tanks, it's the Tiger 1 mechanically unreliable, and the Elephant mechanically unreliable. So the mechanically unreliable, on an advanced roll, you have to roll a dice. On a 1, you're immobilized for the turn, but you can still shoot. On a run, if you roll a 1, you then are immobilized for the rest of the game. And on a 2, you stay still for the turn. So a bit more of a risk, but it does kind of reduce the points ever so slightly. So the British and Commonwealth and British supported theatre selectors, obviously you get things like the Maori troops. You can take New Zealand reinforced platoons, which have steadfast under fire, which is after a rolling number of pins caused by HE, halve the number of pins rounding down, which is really useful. You can take Esprit de Corps for Canadian troops, which means that, what does it say here? Headquarters and infantry sections may benefit from the Esprit de Corps special rule instead of Dogged for +1 point per man. Esprit de Corps, I think, means D2 pins instead of 1. There's some rules for some Polish units. Here's another one I really liked, Mike Target. For 30 points, give an artillery forward observer the ability to radio a Mike Target order, bringing to bear large numbers of guns in the target area. Given the high priority given to the strike, the player calling in a Mike Target gets +1 on the artillery barrage. In addition, the number of guns involved increases the radius affected by the Mike Target to D6 +8. So you could, in theory, roll a 14-inch radius with a +1 to hit, which is just silly. That's like a lot. And especially when the British get their artillery observers for free. I'm not really going to go through all of the theatre selector lists. I think that's something that everyone else can have a look at. And it'll be something that you can kind of enjoy when you actually get the book. I will say the British seem to have benefited the most. They get to bring, well, from a competitive standpoint anyway, they get to bring more HE to bear, which is obviously great for them. Americans, the Ranger forces, can bring the M375mm gun motor carriage, and only if you give it the shoot and scoot special rule after giving a fire order. It may also make a reverse move, which I think is great. Again, not going to go through all of this. Right. You can have the French, and they can take the Legion special rule. French Foreign Legion, they can re-roll morale checks to stay on the table. There's also Esprit de Corps, yep. Remove D2 pins whenever they pass an order test instead of the usual 1. Again, great. So German special rules. Most of the German units can now take the Panzerfaust 30, which instead of a regular Panzerfaust only has a range of 6 inches, which, from my experience, most people tend to get within 6 inches with their Panzerfausts, just to make sure they hit. So, again, I think it's 3 points instead of 5 if you're really scrabbling for points. That's the way forward. And then the last thing I want to draw everyone's attention to is a new generic unit, which is a Forward Observer Super Heavy. So, it's 150 points regular, or if you are British, you can pay an additional 50 points to upgrade your free observer to a super heavy. Follows all the usual for calling it in, but when you roll the dice when it comes in, it's D6 +7 inch, 1 to 4. The unit's not hit directly but takes D3 pin markers, same as usual. On a 5, it takes a glancing hit, so you place a 1-inch template over the target and resolve damage rolls with a +5 penetration. If a vehicle suffers a near miss, then you have to do another roll. On a 1, 2, 3, the near miss does nothing. On a 4, 5, 6, it causes superficial damage, so roll on the damage chart, but with the superficial -3 anyway. But then on the roll of a 6, you place a 4-inch template on the unit in the same way as HE cells, but resolve it with a +5 pen value. And the unit, if it survives, I love that it has to say if it survives, it takes D6 +1 pin markers. Same as all the usual kind of take, you can go down, half the hits taken, all that good stuff. And a heavy artillery barrage causes 3d6 +1 to damage in buildings instead of the regular 3d6, which again, pretty honking. So that's kind of like the majority of the things that really interested me. Most of this is then all about like minefields and all that sort of stuff. Again, this will be great for you guys to have a look through, see what you found, see what you like from it. So that is a very brief overview of Campaign Italy Tough Gut. Next up, Italian Alpini Mountain Troops. So, brand new in the box. Let's see what the sprue looks like. So I've not actually seen this yet, as I'm sure you can tell. I'm now ripping the plastic off. There we go. So, instructions. And now let's look at the sprue. So, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 standing bodies with a kneeling body. These are very, very similar to the Italian infantry sprue, but again, why would you not make them similar? Options for rifles. There's the LMG just there. I've got the SMG. Yeah, got the SMG there. Another rifle, and then obviously different head options. Let me just focus the camera on that for you. There we go. I mean, I loved putting together the Italian plastics, so I'm really looking forward to putting these together. Normally I'd do a giveaway, but unfortunately for you guys, I have an Italian army, and these guys definitely have a place in it. So that's everything for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and just generally give us some support wherever you can. We really appreciate it. Until next time, guys.